So how did you end up starting your first business?
Oh my gosh, my story. Met my husband and married in the year 2000, and he was at that time in Mombasa. So I was working for a media house, and it became apparent that we needed actually to live together after getting married. So one of us had to give up our jobs, and that's what I did. So I gave up my job at the media house and moved to Mombasa. And in that whole process, the good thing is my husband comes from an entrepreneurial home. So they kind of like, the idea of going into business was like an obvious thing. Yeah. Right. Hey, Patricia, you're a graphic designer. Why don't you just, start doing your own work and just make it into a business? So there was a lot of encouragement from his side of the family, while from my side of the family, my parents kind of like had educated me to get a good job, and stick in that job. So of course, working with this large organization was really like, okay, fine, we've got our child set up, into this career, etc. So that's basically how it started. I started doing a lot of kind of like freelance work, yeah. And then because at the time when I was finishing university, a lot of my classmates were going in to become, what were they called those days? Not really interns, but there was like an entrance level, jobs within a large organization. So it was a kind of like a training module for managers. And many of them were going into these large organizations. And when they got in, they realized they needed the work of course, somebody in comms and design. And so to do work with these organizations, I needed to register a limited liability company, and that's how Willart Productions was registered. And I was very, very, very fortunate because I got a number of really good jobs that got me started in this business journey, through my very good friends.
Amazing, truly. Back to the cliche that your network is your net worth. I think that keeps popping up.
That is so true.
Okay. And so how long did it take for you to get to a place where you felt you had mastered entrepreneurship?
Have we mastered this thing in this changing world? And especially now with COVID, we really feel like we're just learning, But for me, when I started my journey, and you'll hear that a lot from any interviews you've heard of me, I just got down and did the work that was required. And obviously there was a need, and my skills were meeting that need for organizations. So that's really, I didn't really have time, to think about, like the terms that people use now when they're launching startups from, and raising money. It was really just that you need to deliver this work. You have a bunch of calendars and Christmas cards, etc., and they need to be delivered by a certain date for them to be distributed. So I was really just looking at how if efficiently can I deliver the product, and how can I get really good suppliers who will help me, just keep to my word. When I say that it'll be delivered on a certain date, then that would happen. And clearly there was a real need for that in the market at that time, because many organizations, and I think that's the challenge of working here at home, is that sometimes you just really need somebody to push your jobs as they go along, and the delivery dates can be moving targets. So I think there was a need for my kind of skill set, and that's all I did. I just focused on just delivering and getting paid, and from one job to the next job. I didn't really have time to come up for air, so to speak, at that time. So I think that's how I learned. However, when I started my second business, which is the conferencing and events company, which I have to say is 100%, I used to think was 100% a third world business, but have since learned that many people who are organizing events and conferences actually need our services. But it was the same thing, but now rather than talking about product, was talking about a number of services, from air ticketing to accommodation in hotels to transportation of the guests once they come, and then of course getting the conference running over a couple of days. Somebody needs to push things along and ensure that ultimately we're delivering the service that the client has asked us to do. So really that's it,
Oh, amazing. I feel like the common thread in your journey is really having a niche, and also like figuring out what problem you are the answer to.
Exactly. And you have to do that to remain in business.
Yes.